Okay, I have to say this is a first for me. Being at a sports press conference, press are usually my kids. They're like, tuned to ESPN watching this stuff. But I cannot tell you how thrilled and how touched and just moved I am to just be here at IU again. It's been, I'm gonna age myself, 20 years since I was a student here, and of course I've kept close watch on all things IU, and I come back and visit as often as I can, but to be a part of this historic occasion, it's such a privilege and an honor to be here, and I am so excited! I just got a peek of the fans in their seats and the music kicking, and it's going to be a fun night, so thanks for having me.
Okay, first question.
How did this come about? Who reached out to you to ask you to do this?
Whose great idea was this, right? Well, the lovely Megan Crean, who is in this room, you might know that last name, she is an acquaintance of mine. Through working at E and E Entertainment, I do a lot of fashion conferences that I host around the country, and I met Megan in Chicago earlier this year, and we were talking about IU basketball, and I said, "You're kidding? I mean, my kids wear candy stripes, and we live in LA. We bleed IU." And she's like, "Well, have you ever thought of hosting?" I was like, "No, but I've never been asked. I would in 2 seconds." And I feel like it was like 15 minutes later where she's like, "They want you to host." I was like, "Seriously?" So then it was a no-brainer. I was like, yes, sign me up. I mean, the only slight conflict is that same fashion conference is tomorrow in New York City. So I was like, how can I pull off being in Bloomington and doing that in New York? And it's gonna work out, so I'm doing both. So sadly, I won't be here long, but we'll get the job done.
Go ahead.
So since you spent your weekend here, you got to go back to the Bluebird and Knicks and all that cool stuff. What's it kind of like being able to do those things as a celebrity versus when you got to do them as a student?
When I was a student, it was a bit of a blur, right? It was great to do back then, but I think I just really got to go into some of those places at the very end of college, when I was a senior or whatever, but it feels different. I find myself really taking it in more now, I was in Knicks today, and I got stuck just staring at the walls and the pictures and who's in those photos and what year it was. And I think when you're a student, you're just worried about the cute boy at the next booth or whatever, right? So you're not, and you're just being a college kid. And so today was cool being at Knicks, and I went back and also visited my sorority, Chi Omega, today. I live a very fast-paced life. I'm always on the go, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll come to Chi, sure, of course I'll make that effort and try to get that, in the middle, seeing about 30 family members I don't normally get to see. And when I got there, they had made this huge sign hanging on the outside of the house, and I think that's when it hit me that I was home, It just felt really, really good.
Go ahead.
I know you were in Hoosiers, right? What was your role? I don't recall.
You don't remember my big scene?
No, I don't.
It's so funny. I know I was thinking about that movie and just coming back and how it's all tied together, interestingly enough. But I was 11 years old, and I was at Martinsville Middle School at the time, and one of my girlfriend's dad said, hey, we're going to go up and they're shooting this movie, Hoosiers, at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Do you want to be in it? And I was like, just an extra. And I didn't even know what that really meant at the time, but we threw on all of our 50s, 60s garb and drove up on a Friday night to Hinkle Fieldhouse. It was a huge deal, and Gene Hackman was there, and Barbara Hershey, and they were movie cameras. I mean, it had such an effect on me at that time, being this little small town girl. And so I did make the movie, blink and you'll miss me. I have to freeze it for my family and friends and go, I really was at Hoosiers. But it was the championship game, and I'm kind of behind the clock, just cheering on the Hoosiers at the time. So I was in that movie, believe it or not. But I think we shot for 5 or 6 hours that night. It was so cool. And that's when I think when I got a little bit of that Hollywood bug in me.
Go ahead.
So you obviously probably tell your boys all the time about all these cool celebrities you get to talk to, and I know they post about more being into sports and stuff. So what do they think about you knowing the Creans and them getting to come to IU, which they obviously love?
They think they hit the lottery. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Both of my boys, 14 and 10, they play basketball. my ex-husband, their father, played baseball here at IU. So he has stayed in touch with a lot of former players and coaches, and he's very, very involved in the athletic side of IU. So they were here when I think the new baseball stadium was that last year or year before? They came back 3 years.
Yeah.
I think they were actually finally made it back last year, but so they know some of the former coaches, Coach Smith, who used to coach baseball here, and so they've been in a bit of the environment. So it's cool to them to, of course, have the access. They even though they've been raised entirely in Los Angeles, they have such strong ties to Indiana. They're so proud of it. They wear their Pacer gear, they wear all their IU gear. And so to be here doing this tonight, I mean, I was just with them getting ready, and they're like pacing around the room, and they change their clothes 5 times, and they're like, how much red and white can they possibly get on their body? They've got it on, and necklaces and chains, all this stuff. So they're thrilled. They know it's a privilege. They think it's very, very cool.
Favorite basketball memories as a student here?
Oh, wow. Let's see. You know, I was a red stepper, and although we primarily performed at the football games, we once got to perform at Assembly Hall, and that was really, really cool. I mean, but that isn't answering your question as it pertains to basketball, but it was neat to be a part of that experience, you know, to get to dance on the court at Assembly Hall was pretty cool. I remember, I mean, when I was here, it was the Calvert Cheneys of the day, Alan Henderson, Damon Bailey, they were the heroes at the time, and I just remember starting to understand, you know, you knew you were going to a big basketball school, but then to like go to the games and have the experiences, and it's like, that's when you start to understand that like it gets in your blood, and you know, it's such a unforgettable experience to be tied to this school and this sport in particular.
Go ahead, Pete.
Do you have a movie coming up? Are you lined up for another movie? And so what is it?
I do, of a much different variety. I'm actually producing a documentary with my mom and another woman, and it's based on the charity that we all take part in. It's called Women Like Us, and it's a charity that, it's not a charity for women per se, and anyone can do it, but we go around and support other women-led causes around the world. So we support a few schools in Kenya, a birthing center in Uganda, a sex trafficking organization that fights sex trafficking in Los Angeles. So there's many causes both here in the US and globally that we support, and we've been documenting a lot of our experiences on those travels. And we are going to premiere that in, I think, February of next year. It's essentially just to try and help and motivate, inspire other people to make change in the world also.
Last question.
Was there something specific that led you to choose this charity versus other ones that you could relate to?
Well, my mom is this phenomenal woman who raised me. She's incredibly strong and smart and cool. She was that mom in my ear that was like, you can do anything, you will be anything you want to do, set your mind to it. So she's traveled the world herself. She published a couple books. She's a motivational speaker. So this was her baby. This was her life's like purpose. So you can imagine in LA and doing what I do, a lot of people approach me, do Habitat for Humanity or do this, do that, you know, tie myself to something. But for me, I thought I would be, I could contribute the most, I think, helping her out with her cause and getting that going. Because it's so hard to get charities off the ground, to get people to volunteer their time and do all these things. So that was about 4 years ago, and it's grown and grown and grown, and then the documentary came to be. So I also, I mean, I think I'm in a position with the job that I do. I mostly hear from young females and women who watch E! News, of course. I mean, you guys, come on a minute, you love the Kardashians, don't I? So I know those are my people that I might be able to affect or persuade or inspire to do things. So it seemed like a perfect fit to do the charity with my mom, and it's been productive. And again, the whole point of it is to try and make a difference and try and, you know, everybody says, you know, I want to get involved in a charity, I just don't know which one. This is a perfect one because there's a million different things you can do. It's not just one lane. Do you know what I mean?
Go ahead.
Do you have your own version of the cat daddy, like the Catt Sadler?
My own version of the Cat Daddy.
Yeah. The
What do you
song
mean?
Cat Daddy, it's like
The
against
dance
the cat, daddy, cat, cat.
I should, but I don't. I'll have to work on that. No, I don't.
If it comes on, you have to
Jason
dance to
Kennedy.
it.
I know. I mean, cat scratch fever, that's one that comes up, you know, I hear that a lot. There are a lot of catisms that I've, you know, come up with and celebrate. My whole blog is cat walk, cat this, cat tails, cat inspiration. But not that Cat Daddy. No, I'm gonna work on that. See, I learned something.
Okay. Anything else? All right, thank you very much.